Hey guys, Kamina the coach here. I don't know. So if you're new to the channel, my name is Kamina the coach. I have been working and living abroad for ever. I'm in my ninth country. I work in the education field. In March of 2020, I was forced back to the United States for 2 years, where I was forced into the feeling part of my healing journey and started addressing early childhood trauma and adoption trauma. September of 2022, I finally got back out of the United States, and like I said, in my ninth country. So you will find a mixture of videos on this channel, some about working and living abroad, some about just living a better quality life, and a lot about working through trauma, healing trauma, and different tools and techniques that I've learned along the way. Some have worked for me, some won't, and some will work for you and some won't, and that's just kind of what it is about the healing journey, figuring out what works for you. So this video is, I think, important for people who have decided enough is enough and they're getting into the meat of the healing process. If you've been following the channel or if you know anything about me at all, you know that I was on a healing journey for probably almost 20 years before I really got into the meat of my healing journey. And the truth is that you can get a lot of cognitive information, and you can learn about a lot about trauma and learn a lot about yourself, but you don't ever really start moving past the pain until you feel the pain. So a really good example is when I was living in China, 2011, 12, something like that. I got really bad cystic acne. Coming back right now because I've been swimming, but whatever. I got really bad cystic acne. I mean, I had like fever in my face. The acne was so bad. And when I was finally able to see a dermatologist, actually I saw a dermatologist in Beijing and I saw a dermatologist finally in Saudi Arabia that finally helped. And what all dermatologists will tell you about healing acne is that it's got to get worse before it gets better. And so when I first began aggressively seeking out moving through healing, like really studying EMDR, I found a therapist who had gone through EMDR therapy, and when she's talking about her experience of it, she kind of leaned into expressing how bad it got before it got better. And I think that in our haste to feel better, we overlook that and we don't really, or we're maybe like, not me. I know when I was heavily into Clubhouse, I heard a woman speak in the mushroom healing community who said one of her messages from the mushrooms was, it doesn't have to hurt to heal. And I guess that I have to say something contrary to that. I mean, I don't know, maybe there are some people that haven't had to feel their feelings to get some relief, but anybody I know who has really gotten large scale relief felt a lot worse before they felt better. So if you don't know me, then you probably don't know that I am a transracial adoptee. I was adopted by a white family at birth who decided to hide my adoption from me. They decided to hide my race from me. They had some pretty serious trauma of their own, and ended up divorcing and then deciding that they wanted me to leave the home when I was 14. So I didn't find out that I was Black until I was 14, lived on the street for quite a while. I married somebody who almost killed me, so I have a lot of compound trauma, early childhood trauma, being taken away from my mother at birth. So I have a lot of, and in addition to just racial trauma stored in my DNA, so I'm a Black American. So layers upon layers upon layers of trauma. And the truth is that I and this is the way healing works. A lot of the time, I would take about 40 steps forward and take 60 steps back, and that's pretty common in the healing journey. I was also really grotesquely self-sabotaging. I feel like to some degree I have adult failure to thrive. And so failure to thrive in infants is when they just die. They lose the will to live. They stop eating and they just die. And so the way that that shows up in adults is a carelessness with life. And I feel like that is obvious and apparent in my life. It is something that shows up in survivors of trauma, that reoccurrence of real drama in the life is a researched thing in people who have suffered serious trauma. Even now, I see it happen. So I just really got tired of the self-sabotaging part and really decided to lean in aggressively with the healing and not really knowing where that was going to take me, but just knowing that I couldn't stay where I was at any longer. And so if you look back at some of my other videos, going to the United States during COVID was probably the biggest catalyst for this, especially after living abroad for a decade before that happened. So being forced back into the United States in the heat of COVID, in the heat of racial unrest, in the heat of all the protests, it was a lot. It was a lot, and I self-sabotaged to the point where I just couldn't take it anymore. I knew that I had to start feeling through, and I had to unlock something. And so you can go back and look at the videos and look at the stuff that I did. I did brain spotting, I did EMDR, and I worked with, I am a healer, I worked with a healer. I got my biggest relief through mushrooms, biggest breakthrough through mushrooms, but I still needed to work with a healer, and I still occasionally work with a healer, and it's a lifetime of work. There's never a point where I'm not going to have to focus on self-care and attend to old wounds, because trauma is something that, like diabetes, you just gotta treat it forever. But so I feel like doing the things that I did gave me some breathing space. But I will say that 2022 was effectively probably the worst feeling year of my life. Feeling all of those old feelings, resurfacing all that stuff, grieving my inner child. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. It was the internal emotional equivalent of having just a completely red, inflamed face, but on the inside. And I was dying, and nobody. And I guess that's the worst part, is when you feel like you're dying, but you look normal on the outside. It was really, really horrible. It felt grotesquely painful. But having said all that, it allowed me the space to have compassion for my inner child, to fall in love with myself for the first time in my adult life, to lean into loving me and depending on me, and 100% worth it. So it hurts. It has to hurt to get better. You have to feel it. You have to move through that old pain. You have to relive it. You have to grieve for yourself. And, and if somebody tries to sell you a magic pill that offers you some way to circumvent that, I would be highly skeptical, because I thought that EMDR was my way around that. I thought that brain spotting was my way around that. I thought that mushrooms was my way around that, and there's just no way around it that I can see. And even though I am in a space of much more peace, perpetual peace, there are still times when I feel like garbage. And that just is part of life, the pain of living. Because the truth is that this is a wonderful, beautiful ride, but it's still hard. It's hard to be human. So that's all I had today. I just want to prepare you if you are at a space in your life where you're just sick and tired of being sick and tired, and you've decided to move through and past that surviving into thriving, that you need to be prepared, and it would behoove you to have a support system. And if you don't have a physical support system, at least a digital support system of experts online or something to hold you as you move through this really hard time. I'm very thankful for my very small group of people who support me in my digital community. I don't know if I would have made it through without them, but it definitely gets worse before it gets better. It is also 100% worth it at the end of the day. And if someone told you that it doesn't have to hurt to heal, I would challenge that. All of the best things come on the other side of pain: childbirth, healing of wounds, all that stuff. So discomfort is necessary for amazing things to come out on the other end. So until next time, my name is Kamina the Coach, and as always, sending you a love, light, peace, and joy. Until next time, I'm out.